Back on July 22nd, we had this Norway massacre involving the gunman Anders Behring Breivik. The initial psychiatric evaluation suggested that he was criminally insane, that he was not fit to stand trial, etc. He killed, he killed, I don't even remember what the final count was at this point, Lewis, but I think upwards of 60 people, maybe into 70 or 80 even. I don't remember what the final count was.
Really? Okay. I don't remember it being that high, but I guess it is.
It is. It's certainly very high. And we now have, just days before this trial is set to start, we have a new expert conclusion that Breivik is actually not to be considered psychotic at the time of his actions on July 22nd, 2011, according to an Oslo District Court statement, which kind of opens the debate on whether Breivik can be sent to prison or not. This is interesting because we had a discussion when this happened about there are certain crimes which by definition you cannot possibly be sane, colloquially sane, to commit. Mm-hmm. And a massacre like this is one of those.
Right.
However, now we are hearing he was not psychotic at the time of the event. And
which in reality is good news.
It's good news in the sense that he may end up doing harder time, even though, as we've seen, those Norwegian prisons are pretty nice.
Yeah.
But regardless, I still have this contradiction in my mind because I feel like there are certain types of crimes, serial murder, etc., where you have to have something wrong mentally to even commit them. But at the same time, that would, in essence, preclude you from spending any time in real prison if you are insane and would only go to a psychiatric ward. What's your thought on this, Natan? I mean, I have a lot of difficulty when we talk about a criminal being insane and therefore treating him differently because so many crimes are so heinous. How could anyone not be insane?
Yeah, I think we should separate out when we talk about someone who commits an act like this being in a mental state that is abnormal and uncommon, and saying that they're psychotic in the clinical sense. Someone could consciously know what they're doing and go through with a massacre like this, so they would clinically not be psychotic, but what they're doing is clearly something almost nobody would do.
Sure.
So I think we just need to separate that out. I mean, I understand that he's ruled as not having been psychotic, but that's not the same as saying that he wasn't mentally different than everyone else.
And there's still a lot of gray area here. In the end, it is going to be up to the Oslo court judges to determine the mental state when they publish the verdict around mid-July. And so, Lewis, still one report and then one other report saying something different is not going to be ultimately what really decides what his fate will be.
Right. The discussion on being in a strange mental state and being clinically psychotic, when you look at people like radical Islamists who strap bombs to themselves and go into a crowded building and blow it up, or
Sure.
strap a bomb to a little kid, you know, I hate to say it, but usually they are not psychotic. They have been raised to think that doing such a thing is a good thing. It's normal. It's God's work. You're going to be rewarded for it.
It has a certain internal logic that is that if you buy into the logic, is rational in a sense.
Completely rational. And we've seen interviews with people on PBS who appear to be completely normal, you know, well-mannered, calm people who are thinking about things, not just, you know, mindless psychopaths.
Sure.
And, I mean, obviously this guy did not grow up in a setting like the one I'm talking about, but clearly there are people who commit heinous crimes who are not psychotic.
No question about it. I think that we can agree on that. On today's bonus show, we'll talk about one of the big lottery winners choosing to remain anonymous. I'll tell you whether I would do the same thing. We'll also talk about low-income countries and cigarettes and the return of SOPA called CISPA. 2 days left to get a free David Pakman Show t-shirt with a 1-year membership. Go to davidpakman.com/spring and get that. And we'll be back after this. So much more to talk about today. Stay with us.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.